Okay, I'm going to share with you here today my experiences that I've had in my life and the knowledge and the wisdom that I've gained from these experiences. They are out of the ordinary because I say I'm just an everyday guy that's had a life of extraordinary experiences. And they are extraordinary. It's taken me quite a long time to process them within myself and get to a point within myself that I can actually express myself in a reasonable way, because I had to deal with a lot of issues because I was affected emotionally, mentally and spiritually and physically because of a result of these experiences that I've been having. And it's been a very, very, very challenging time in my life. And I always knew deep down inside that I was having these experiences for a reason. And like I said, it's taken me a while to reconcile that. And that reconciliation has led to me now feeling very at peace within myself. I actually feel happy and joyous and comfortable. As horrendous and horrific some of these experiences were, I actually am grateful that I had them, as crazy as that might sound on one level. And I actually got to the point where I thanked all the beings that were quite negative towards me for doing what they did to me, because I know I wouldn't be the man I am without having had these experiences. I wouldn't have the understanding of life that I have without these experiences. And it also gives me, in a sense, the authority, for want of a better term, to be able to get up and say to everybody, hey, you know, this is what I've discovered as what's going on. So with everything that I'm going to share with you here today, I'm going to say to you, you don't have to accept anything I share, because I honour everybody's journey. So I ask that you consider what I say. I'll be speaking at times in the affirmative, as though that's how it is. Because obviously for me that's how it is. But with the majority of the experiences that I had, and the relationships and interactions that I've had with beings from way beyond this veil, and even the cosmic veil that we are inside of, there is an understanding in the universe of the way things are. Because what is truth? Truth, I'll give you my definition of what truth is. To me, truth is simply just the way things are. It's that simple. And people like to get all heady and technical about things and complicate things. And people say, oh, but all truth is relative. So I'll share this with you. Are we not all in this room today, this aspect of ourselves incarnate on Mother Earth, having this interaction today? Is that not the same for all of us? So is that a relative truth, or is that universal fact? The fact that you are incarnate on Mother Earth today, and the fact that the Earth revolves around the sun, is that a relative truth, or is that a universal fact? See? These are universal facts. But the people who like to propagate these ideas that all truth is relative and it comes down to the perception of the individual, they like to do that because it never allows us to really grasp anything tangible in life. It forever leaves us floating in this sea of uncertainty. And if you are going to be properly centered, and if you are going to activate that inner fortitude, your Camelot, your castle, your Solomon's temple within you, then you need to be solid. You need to be grounded. You need to be strong internally. So you must have things that are tangible within you, not just floating in this sea of uncertainty. So what I'm going to share with you here today might push a few boundaries, which I totally understand and accept, because I had mine pushed throughout my life with all my experiences. And I still do. I still do. That journey continues. And so I'll begin with this experience I had in 2003, because for me, it was the most major experience that I had, and it's the one that really activated my awareness more than anything. It was profound. And I got to take a journey up through the dimensions of our universe. So that's just to give you the summary of it. And it's really profound to say that. And I get people who say, well, who do you think you are? What gave you the right to have that journey? How come I don't get to have that journey? So people come at it from that perspective as well. I'm not saying that you people in this room are doing it, but I get that from people. You know, I do, unfortunately. So whatever we're experiencing in our lives is of our own making. It's what I chose in this life. And with that experience, with that journey, I realised came a sense of obligation and responsibility, that everything I experienced was for a reason. And the same with you. Everything that you experience is for a reason. Nothing happens just happenstance, or whatever that word is, or out of that theory we call chaos. There is purpose and intent for everything that occurs in our lives, everything that exists in this universe, because everything in this universe is by design. Everything. It's just the magnitude of the processing of the consciousness and the genius behind having life bounce around and interact and coordinate the way it does, even when you look out at nature in the wild and you think, well, that's got to be chaotic. No, that's actually by design. It's just the magnitude of the consciousness required to do that is so great we can't comprehend it. So we just flob it off as it's chaotic, because there's no way we can do it. We don't have the capacity to do it at this level of awareness. So people can't cope, so they've got to put it down. They've got to, you know, just dismiss it. They can't give it acknowledgement. And that's ego, having issues with that. And so in 2003, I was visited by what I consider my galactic family. Because in reality, we're all ETs, by the way. And I'll get more into that. You'll understand better that statement as we go further on into the day. And when they visited me, I knew exactly who they were instantaneously. Because you hear a lot about people who get contacted by ETs that, you know, they get showered with love and with light, and the ETs turn up and they say, oh, we're your long lost brother or sister, or we're your family from this planetary system. And I've experienced those type of beings too, but they weren't, to me, my true family. There was something wasn't right with that process. So when my true galactic family turned up, instantly I knew who it was, just like my beloved wife Cynthia walking into the room. The moment she walks into the room, she doesn't have to carry on like that, does she? So for you, when your loved ones walk into the room, or your brother or your sister, when they walk into the room, they don't have to carry on like that, do they? You just know who they are, right? It's simple, isn't it? It's the old thing, keep it simple. Magical saying, that one. Very, very empowering saying, that one, if you really take it into consideration deeply. And so they picked me up on a small shuttlecraft, and I was taken to a much larger craft towards the Sirius star system. And that journey in itself was quite fun, because I was sitting on a little bench seat and I had two of my friends sitting on the other bench seat, and the reality was streaming past. Just like in those sci-fi movies. I remember putting my hand actually in that stream, because we were travelling very, very fast. And it tingled, and I brought my hand out, and my hand was just tingling for a little while. And that was fun. These are the bits that I remember, because I don't have full recall of every moment of that experience. And then when we got onto the larger ship, I remember the reunion. It was fantastic. It was just fantastic. There was a lot of love, and there were many different races there. And when we got to the point of actually going through the process I need to go through, I met with a being in there that I hadn't seen for a very long time. He's like a brother to me. We're both from Cirrus, and he was like a brother. Well, he's my brother on Cirrus. He's a beautiful being. And the way he expressed himself in that ship, the way all the beings express themselves in that ship, because you can express yourself in different ways when you're interacting from the higher realms, is they're all human looking, like us, and they all wore these long gowns, beige and brown coloured gowns. And the reason they did that, and the ship was all very neutral, because what you do is you can manifest a ship very quickly for whatever it is you want to do in that moment with the consciousness. So these are not craft that are manufactured in a factory or built with nuts and bolts. These are craft that are manifested with intention. And the reason they did that was because everything needed to be very neutral. So my ego as George wasn't stimulated too much. It was very important that the main point of focus was my experience that I was about to have with the universe. So everything gets taken into consideration. And before I go any further with this experience, I'm going to divert just a little bit because I just want to go through a couple of images first. We're all at this stage in our journey now where we realise that something is going on here. We realise that our hearts are crying out. I see it all over the planet. Our hearts are crying out for reality, for truth, because we've been brought up in our cultures to see life in a certain way. If you grow up in a different culture other than the Australian culture, you will have other influences through cultural programming, through spiritual programming, through cultural traditions. And so we're raised to see and view life in a particular perspective, depending on where you grow up on a planetary system. And I see all over the world people's hearts crying out, because that programming is mostly on the mental level. And it's affecting us mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. And I know this because these are the layers within my mind that I had to get through for my journey as well. And so I see hearts crying out for the truth, getting beyond this mental situation that's happening on the planet at the moment, this mental programming. And we know that something's going on here. Even people that I speak to, had this wonderful conversation with a gentleman on the Central Coast, because we went and visited the Egyptian hieroglyphs there on the Central Coast. And he's very connected to nature. And he said to me, he can feel it in nature all around him, that things are changing, even in the natural kingdom. So people who are very connected to nature can feel it, that it's not just the human race that is changing, that our actual environment is changing. So the questions to begin to ask, and I'm sorry I've diverted from that experience with my journey into the universe, but probably it's best to preface with what I'm sharing with you now, and then I'll get back into it. Is why have we chosen to incarnate on Mother Earth now? So why this planet and why now? And these are the questions that I urge yourself to begin to ask. Why? Why am I here? And why have I chosen this particular point in time to be on this planet? This part of you. Why aren't you incarnated somewhere else? You are, but I'm talking about this part of you. Why is this part of you not incarnated somewhere else? So why Mother Earth? They're the questions to begin to ask yourselves in your contemplations, in your meditations, in your whatever processes you use. Because we've all heard of the Mayan calendar, And we can all feel that something's afoot with Mother Earth. Something's going on. And it's called the Great Shift of the Ages. And it's in every culture, whether it's Aztec, whether it's Mayan, whether it's Egyptian, whether it's Vedic, whether it's whatever. We know it's in every single culture. Anybody does any form of research whatsoever, you'll see it there in every culture, that at this point in time in life, something was going to happen globally. And that's why I've got that image there, because my understanding is that Mother Earth is about to give birth to a new race of life that has never existed in the universe before, a new way of life. That's my understanding. And it's not just an understanding, it's actually a knowing. And it's a knowing of who Mother Earth is as well. Who is this? Why do we call it Mother Earth? Why do all the races all around the world call her Mother Earth? Simply because all these peoples know that she's a woman. And that's understanding that every planet has its own consciousness, its own individual being. Every star is its own consciousness, its own individual being. Every tree, every rock, everything in life is its own consciousness. Sure, there's a collective underlying group consciousnesses and what have you, but all those stars and planets out there, they're all individual beings. So who is this planet that we're incarnated on? Who is she? And she expresses herself in so many ways. And there's one of them, like a ballerina. It's magnificent. She does give us messages. She pops up around the place. And here's another concept of a pregnant Mother Earth giving birth. So this concept is in a lot of people's understandings. These images I just grabbed because they get my attention. And they're just drawn. I didn't ask somebody to draw this. These are people who already know within themselves that Mother Earth is about to give birth. Here's another one. And here we have the creation of life and the vortex of life in the womb there. So I'm just sharing a few images to get that understanding of the fact that we're on a planet whose consciousness is feminine to begin with. And that's why everyone calls her Mother Earth. And the idea and the understanding that she's about to give birth. And that I want you to realise that it's not just George who has this knowing and understanding, that this is well known. And when I got beyond the veil, the earthly veil, then beyond the cosmic veil, and got to extraterrestrials and the rest of universal life, who live in freedom and understanding, then they all know this. Everyone's talking about it. It's nothing new to them, and they're all involved in the process here. So I want you to understand the extent and the magnitude of where I'm coming from. This great lady we call Mother Earth. Now, I'm biased, okay? Because you know when you see an image of the Earth, you always see the US or, you know, the Americas usually. And I'm going to go, well, if I'm going to travel the world and do talks, I'm going to put good old Aussie there. Thank you very much. Right? Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Yeah. Why not? Right? Why not? Absolutely. Why do we always get left out of the picture? Actually more significant than anyone would want to admit. There's more going on here in Australia than a lot of people understand. Yeah.